Hello, so recently there has been a lot of fuss made about the new DeepSeek AI assistant, which promises to deliver results as good as or better than ChatGPT's most advanced model. The hype is so strong that within a week of its launch, DeepSeek actually went to the top of the app download charts. Now, the really interesting thing about this AI model is it was developed using a fraction of the computing power and at a fraction of the cost of some of the other popular AI models we see out there. And as a result, that means they can offer it at a lower cost for us to use it. So on the left side, we have DeepSeek, and on the right side, we have ChatGPT. If you want to sign up to these, you just need to go to deepseek.com and chatgpt.com. You will need to sign up, and you can do that using a Google account or using email and password. Both of these are on free accounts. So the first thing you'll see once you have signed in is this interface here. And these are both completely new accounts, so they don't have any chat history or any custom training from me. So firstly, we're going to pretend that I run a small consulting service and I want both of these AI models to write me a cold email. I'm going to paste in the prompt to both of them, make sure I select the R1 model here on DeepSeek, and then we're going to start them running. So as you can see, ChatGPT has already got started. Okay, so now we have both the responses. So ChatGPT took about 15 seconds to come up with this, and it started writing almost immediately. DeepSeek actually waited for about 60 seconds before anything happened, but then when it did start writing, it wrote very quickly. So let's have a look at these two responses. So DeepSeek does this very interesting thing where it actually goes through its reasoning here. So it says, okay, the user needs a cold sales email for their consulting service. Let me start by understanding the key elements they want: concise, persuasive, professional, and approachable tone. First, the subject line that needs to grab attention. The greeting needs to be formal but not stiff. So it's explaining its thinking as it goes, which is actually really cool. Then as we scroll down, we see the actual cold email that it's written. So the title is Unlock Company Name's Growth Potential with Tailored Consulting. Hi, first name. I help businesses like yours streamline operations, boost profitability, and scale strategically without the overhead of large consulting firms. Okay, so that's quite a good intro sentence. Let's compare that to ChatGPT. Hi, I hope this email finds you well. My name is, and I run. Okay, so instantly this one is not as good. Because the first sentence is just kind of pathetic. And the next part is not particularly good either. And it's not really, it's asked me to fill in all of the blanks here. It's not really giving me a persuasive hook that I can run with. And I noticed that DeepSeek here has recommended I give a specific result, e.g. 20% annual cost savings or 2 times revenue growth, whereas ChatGPT has just said optimize operations and improve profitability. So out of the two of those opening paragraphs, I would say DeepSeek is the best. So reading the rest of DeepSeek's response, your recent achievement caught my attention, and I'd love to explore how we can replicate similar wins in areas like, so that's interesting because it's showing that, I paid attention to what they do, whereas if we look at ChatGPT's response, it's just asking me to include a sentence that sets us apart. So I'm not even referring to the person I'm emailing at all or showing that I know anything about them. Back to DeepSeek. Are you open to a 20-minute call this week to discuss your goals and how we might help you achieve them faster? Attached a Calendly link. If I've misread your priorities, just let me know. I'm happy to adjust the conversation. So that's really nice. That sounds very human and just quite a kind of good thing for establishing a rapport and showing that you are understanding their busy schedule. I don't see anything like that in ChatGPT's response. And then DeepSeek has also said why this works and told me why it thinks this is a good email. So out of the two of these, I'd say DeepSeek is the clear winner by a long shot. I would much rather send this email than I would this email. Okay, so now let's go on to a new challenge. So for the next challenge, I'm going to ask them both to write a short LinkedIn post to promote a new bookkeeping service for small businesses. So let's get them started. So as you can see, ChatGPT has started immediately. But does that mean that it hasn't thought about it as much? I wonder. Okay, so now we have our responses. So again, ChatGPT started writing almost immediately, and it probably took about 10 to 15 seconds to write the whole thing. DeepSeek took slightly longer to even start. ChatGPT had already finished before DeepSeek started, and then it spent quite a long time writing all this reasoning. But I actually find this really, really interesting because you can see here it's saying, okay, so the audience is small business owners, they're busy, so the message should be clear and highlight the benefits quickly. The tone needs to be approachable. So like this is, I mean, I'm learning just from reading this, like how the AI is thinking, and it's making me think I should think more like this. It's really structured, and then wait, user included PS in the previous example, maybe include a PS here for an extra tip or incentive. So that's strange because I didn't include a PS in a previous example. So that's a bit strange, but anyway, let's keep reading. Avoid being too salesy, keep it helpful and supportive. So it's basically like taking my basic prompt and turning it into a really detailed prompt, which is very interesting. So, and then at the end it says, okay, putting it all together, start with a hook, explain the problem, present the solution, mention expertise, friendly invitation to act, and hashtags, keep paragraphs short. So yeah, it's written a much better prompt than I did. And then if we read the post, big news for small businesses. So it's grabbing attention, tired of drowning in spreadsheets or losing sleep over unpaid invoices. So this is good. It's explaining the problem in a kind of hook format with a question. And then it's saying, we have got the solution to the problem. So hopefully people will read this and this will resonate, and then they will keep reading. And as you can see, it explains very clearly what it is. Emojis to make a kind of bullet point list. And then it's used a classic technique of asking people to comment the word bookkeeping, or send a DM, which is, a great way to increase engagement for your posts. So you may not want to do this, but it's kind of assumed that you do. And yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. So if we look at ChatGPT's response, we're thrilled to announce the launch of our new bookkeeping service. So it hasn't said anything, hasn't tried to identify the problem at all or put any kind of hook. Designed to take control of finances. So this is pretty plain and uninteresting, I would say. This is the kind of thing you would scroll past. I'd say this one is definitely more likely to get people to stop scrolling. So for the next challenge, I'm going to ask them both to make a short business plan for a neighborhood coffee shop. If you're enjoying this video, we'd be super grateful if you could give it a like and also subscribe to our channel, where we're going to be doing loads of really cool AI and no-code tutorials to help non-technical people like you and me to build cool stuff on the internet. Okay, so DeepSeek was really struggling then. I kept getting network errors. So in the end, I just started a new chat and I put in the prompt again, and it actually started working immediately and started generating the text. So I've done the same. I've started a new chat with ChatGPT just to keep things fair. Overall, they both started about the same time, but because DeepSeek kind of writes all this thought process stuff at the start, it took longer to generate the output. But let's now compare the outputs. So firstly, I just really like the way it tells you its thought process here. And you can see it's really diving into this prompt and improving it. So first it goes through all the things I mentioned, and then section by section. So it talks about the key goals, and it's talking about like establishing a community presence and sustainability practices and things like that. Target audience, marketing strategy. And then here you can see it really goes into detail about projected expenses, how many customers it's expecting a day. So if you do read the plan and you think, okay, this bit doesn't sound right, you can go back up here and you can kind of see the logic that got it to that response, which I think is a really nice feature to have. So let's look at the actual output here. So ChatGPT gave us a little executive summary, which we didn't get with DeepSeek, but it really doesn't have much useful stuff in it. Then we go down to the key goals. So I can see immediately that DeepSeek is a lot more specific. It said stuff like achieve break even within 6 to 8 months and a 15% net profit margin by year 2, whereas ChatGPT said break even within the first 12 months, and then in year 2, like expand to offer catering services. And then it's talking about, community hub, sustainability, customer loyalty. So it's kind of setting a goal there of maintaining a 4.8 out of 5 average rating. Whereas ChatGPT doesn't even really mention anything like that. And then going down to target audience, residents within a 1 mile radius, 18 to 45. So the responses here are kind of the same or very similar. Marketing strategy, it's talking about names and logos and taglines. So social media, loyalty program, partnerships and events. This says social media. collaborate with local influencers. So that would be, I guess, partnerships, free coffee samples. So they are both kind of fairly similar, I'd say, but you can see that DeepSeek does give a few more details and ideas. So like where it says loyalty program, it says buy 10, get 1 free punch cards and app-based rewards. Whereas ChatGPT just says implement a points-based system for frequent customers. Then revenue streams, DeepSeek actually breaks out where the revenue is going to come from. Whereas ChatGPT kind of gives you ideas for where the revenue can come from, and it has similar ideas in terms of like seasonal merchandise and branded merchandise and things like that. But again, slightly lacking on detail. Projected expenses, these actually look quite similar. So you can see there are some slight differences in numbers. So lease deposit and renovation, 30k here compared to 50 and 80k for ChatGPT. And then we have 5k of startup marketing. ChatGPT didn't mention any startup marketing. It's only said marketing budget is going to be 1 to 2k a month. So this has 5k startup and then 1.5k monthly. So this to me seems a bit more realistic. But yeah, ChatGPT has thought of having a contingency fund as well. And then if we look at financial projections, they're both fairly similar in the amount of detail they're giving, and the numbers are also fairly similar. So overall, I would say that DeepSeek wins on this one marginally, just because it's given a bit more depth in its response here. Okay, so for the next task, I have given it the transcript of the latest Create With podcast episode where me and James were talking about AI and NoCode and all kinds of stuff. And I've asked it to write a bullet point summary of this YouTube video transcript, drawing out the most important topics and giving your opinion on each, then pick out the 3 best snippets from the video and provide them with timestamps and a catchy title. So let's see what happens. Okay, so immediately I get a message from ChatGPT saying the message is too long because this is the free version of ChatGPT, so it cannot cope. It doesn't have enough tokens to enable me to do that. So I'm going to just delete the second half of this transcript and see if it can cope with that. Okay, so we've got started. Okay, so we have both our outputs. Actually, ChatGPT was taking ages and ages with this one, so I started a new chat and pasted in the same prompt, and it went really quickly the second time. So yeah, both of these struggle, I think, sometimes with like server overload or like just little glitches, which means you have to try them again. But let's have a look at the output. So obviously you get this bit of kind of thought process from DeepSeek, but it's quite brief this time. And it's basically just reiterating what I had said. And then it goes through this summary. So project update, so typo, it's actually typoro. So it summarizes what it is, a LinkedIn tool, then auto clips, AI TikTok video generator, and then it gives an opinion. So both projects highlight the power of niche AI tools. Typoro's focus on LinkedIn algorithmic quirks is smart, but reliance on platform-specific trends risks obsolescence. So that's true. Autoclip scalability depends on balancing AI creativity with user customization. Let's have a look over this side. So kind of similar summary, and the opinion is fine. It doesn't mention platform risk, and instead mentions prompt engineering. And then for the autoclips TikTok generator, a complex yet promising innovation catering to the rising demand for short form video content. So yeah, I'd say those are about equal, slightly different, but about even in terms of their detail. AI's role in development and marketing, nuances matter like iterative prompting and avoiding role redefinition, and then hybrid code and no code stack. So combining Bubble with Supabase and Cloudflare workers. Opinion, hybrid approaches are the future for SaaS, blending no code agility with code's precision. However, AI's inconsistency demands rigorous validation. So that's good. Let's see if this was mentioned here. So talk about prompt engineering challenges. So this doesn't really get a mention over here, but that might be because I had to cut off half the transcript anyway. Self-driving startups and AI agents. Opinion, autonomous startups are promised but overhyped. AI excels at automating tasks, not creativity. Okay, so that's interesting to have that opinion from an AI model. While foundational LLM improvements make so innovations and application drive excitement. So not quite as interesting a take from ChatGPT on that. And then again with self-driving startups, the vision of autonomous startups is compelling, but practical implementation remains challenging and nuanced. So that's, not a particularly interesting take. And then 3 best snippets. So cracking LinkedIn algorithm Typoro's AI-driven growth hacks. That's a good title. Versus from prompts to perfection. So that's a bad title. Hidden art of prompt engineering, why AI needs a human touch. So that's a good title as well. And then the snippet they've chosen, actually, the quotes here: LinkedIn wants you to post twice a week. Typoro optimizes hooks and structure so your content doesn't get buried. I wouldn't say that's one of the best snippets from the 30-minute podcast. Whereas the way you word prompts, just changing 1 or 2 words can make or break the entire output. This is, I would say, a better snippet to have pulled out than this one. And the same for this. If you say you're a social media manager, it starts from scratch. Tiny wording makes or breaks output. So it's kind of similar, but they give a bit more of a snippet here, which I think is actually better and easier to understand. And then it talks about the rise of DeepSeek and self-driving startups are coming. So I actually think the snippets that ChatGPT has pulled out are more compelling than the ones that were pulled out by DeepSeek, although the titles written by DeepSeek are better than the ones written by ChatGPT. And that's interesting because ChatGPT only had half of the transcript. So overall, I would say DeepSeek is the clear winner in this challenge. The depth of the responses, the details it goes into are just far better than ChatGPT, and the fact that it gives you its thought processes as it's doing it is really interesting and adds a lot of context when you get the final response. Now, of course, ChatGPT does have better models than the one we were using. The model we were using is 4.0, which is the one that you get on the free plan. ChatGPT actually does have a more advanced model, which is the 01 model, but that's only available on paid plans, and even on the $20 a month plan, you have limited use of it. So you really need to be on the $200 plan to make the best use of it. The other thing we came across was that with the free version of ChatGPT, you have a limited context window, which means you cannot paste in an entire 30-minute YouTube transcript and ask it to read it. It will be too long, whereas with DeepSeek, we did not have that limitation. So the purpose of this exercise was to compare the free offerings from DeepSeek and ChatGPT, and of those two, I would say DeepSeek is the clear winner. Of course, this was a very short test, and I would love to hear what your experiences are, so feel free to comment below on which platform you are using and which one you prefer.